Hi, my name is Kevin Limpany. I'm with KDH News, and I'm here with Councilman Riakos Adams. How you doing, sir?
Living the dream.
That's great. All right, well, I'm here to talk to Councilman Adams a little bit about the National League of Cities. Can you tell me a little bit about it and what it does for the city of Killeen?
So, National League of Cities is an advocacy organization. It has memberships from all of just about all the cities in the U.S. that want to pay to be a member. And it also has all of the municipal leagues or city associations in each state that are members. You can attend conferences not being a member. Either way, the NLC promotes advocacy towards Congress and policymakers on city-related issues. It's been around for 100 years. It's headquartered in Washington, D.C. And they have an active process. They don't lobby, they call it advocacy because their charter doesn't promote lobbying, I think, per se. The city, Killeen has been involved for, I think, recently the last 3 years, but was previously involved before that. And what we do, it's a good place to network, take ideas and bring ideas back. And then also make sure that it's known about cities, be a part of the process for cities our size and type as they develop their policies towards advocating in Congress.
Well, that's good. I guess now that you are being nominated, what can you tell us about some of your qualifications and what makes you a good candidate for filling a leadership role?
Well, so what I had to do the other night was get council's endorsement to get a Texas Municipal League endorsement to National League of Cities. And what they look for, so there are 3 committees, or 2 specifically that I've been interested in and active with already, and that is the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee and the Military Cities Committee. Transportation and Infrastructure, that's something I've been keen on because being just a non-council member and riding around, you see things. So I've made it a point to be on K-Tempo locally, participate in the same thing in Texas Municipal League. Those are the same workshops I go to with TML, and then getting on the infrastructure committee, it's an opportunity to hear what cities from as small as 500 people to the Houston-sized cities. Now, and I try to take some of those, I try to massage some of those ideas, and then offer things that we have done here that have been successful. Now, I've served last year, and then I attended the previous year. So when the opportunity came for leadership nominations, I figured I'd put my name in the hat. What that does sometimes is also promotes Killeen as well. That's the biggest thing about going to some of these, is making sure people know. Right, deep in the heart of Texas, you'll find Killeen, Texas, right next to Fort Cavazos. The other committee, it's a group of all the cities that have military bases real close to them, and we qualify. And then, so the leadership tends to rotate around, and I'm waiting just to see if I'm eligible to become a vice chair. Not looking to take over and be the chair. I first try to just go small first. And some of these committees have multiple chairs, vice chairs, and then they have subcommittee chairs. And the final decision is the president and board for the National League of Cities.
And is there any specific things that you want to bring forward, or any ideas that you have that you think might be useful that could benefit Killeen?
Yes. So I've always been a transit guy. So I know it's going to be hard building a train here, but I'm trying to pay attention to how other cities have done it. That are similar to us, and not trained in a sense, but where as we grow, we start looking at that. So the idea is try to look at more innovative ways as we plan out in the future. Whether it happens or not, let's do planning. And I've ran into a couple of cities that have started doing that. They recognize the potential growth going forward. Say, hey, okay, wait a minute, how do we do all those things and meet certain and still be able to serve our citizens? There are some cities that have, I'll give them an A+, and if you can give them triple A's, I would. If there was a credit rating on how they plan for the future, or how it was planned in the past to set themselves up in the future. And I think that's one of the things that I have to do as a council member now, is plan out decisions I try to make now, they're a little bit more effective at this level than it is at the national level, but always looking far. I don't know, the particular car company that used to have the commercial go farther, and then once you get that far, you keep going. I think that's the mindset every time you come to do that. For Killeen, we can't plan in a box, or we can't think that everything, you take citizen input and you compare it with like places similar to us. Like you try to figure out, will this, well, first of all, will it be supported? You try not, you don't just put it out there, this is what I want.
Right.
You try to figure out, hey, you think this would be a good idea? Now, sometimes, technically, it may not be, so it may not be worth it if it's not technically, even though people may want it, but you have to, then as an elected official, you have to explain, I say, is this what is this sure what you want? Because it may not be, you might be complaining about the issues afterwards. The other side is, if it might be perfect technically, but then citizens don't want it. So you have to figure out to try to, it's like by comparing, hey, I've seen a city that's 160,000, they're starting to do this so that when they're at 200,000, they're this way. Or a city that was 100,000 in the past and now they're outside, this is what they did to make sure we had the right economic development, transportation infrastructure, water infrastructure, and what have you. Now, the difference is in Texas, and we're a little different because we have certain limitations from the Texas Municipal Code.
Right.
So it's a lot of those trying to plug and play to how can we shape it to what Killeen is. And I've had people ask us, how did we do this?
Yeah, it's like playing Sim City, right?
Yes, and I'm always going to say that it's when you develop, whether it's city services, residential, commercial, or industrial, there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
You got to have the jobs, and you got to have the things that make people want to come here, and you have to have the services to support all three.
Just as long as we don't get frustrated and enter in a cheat code that brings Godzilla
Right.
to destroy the city.
I've done that before too.
Okay, so anything else maybe you'd want to share to the community about NLC or any work that you might want to do?
Yeah, I'm hoping and then not just NLC, but also for the region, because Killeen is, I consider us the jewel of Central Texas, because we're the largest city in Central Texas. And if you look at a map of all the counties that make up the SITCOG, we're right in the middle. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of the future planning should see us as that the hub in that wheel. Unless something shifts, as I see it right now, if we can, I like to highlight Killeen as that place. And that's going to require working with other council members and from other cities as well to promote them, because as we grow, it's going to affect everything around us. And so I get phone calls and I talk to people. Sometimes people will say no to something before they hear about it. Give it a chance. If it don't work, we can adjust as long as we don't spend a whole bunch of money on it.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, and I think the city participating in LC has been a benefit. We were recognized as part of the 100 cities for the 100-year anniversary, which means they brought people here and they highlighted what we have been doing in the city. That hopefully, I don't know how soon that'll be, but that will get our name up there and potentially bring business to us. Both in the hospitality aspect, industrial or commercial. So I still think city. I like to use the term city with no limits. Mm-hmm. And I think Killeen has no limits, and there's a lot of stuff we have room to grow into something and shape it to something. The other side of that is Killeen is almost practically in the middle of the fastest growing area in the country. One of the fastest growing. So that triangle from Dallas to San Antonio to Houston, Killeen is like right there. We share that area, Waco, Austin, that general area. I like the quiet town, but have you seen how some other megalopolises, like Boschwash, the area from Boston to Washington D.C., the area from Los Angeles going north, how those population grows? We just got to be able to manage that so it doesn't become sprawl. And I think participating in some of these discussions help us with other ideas on how to prevent that, because nobody wants sprawl. So, like I just came back from St. Louis, Salt Lake City. And they're one of the most urbanized cities, but it's planned perfectly to where I didn't see any traffic jams.
Mm.
You know, I didn't see, they have a transit system and the traffic still flows. Crime is not that bad. So I think everybody working together, and everybody's, as long as you have two people working together, you're always going to have a disagreement. So agree to disagree, but then also agree to figure something out.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this is Kevin with KDH News. Thank you very much.
Yeah.